Hello and welcome to On the Esky this week. Big show planned with the State of Origin during the week. Thank you all for tuning in to our Australian Sports Larrikin podcast. I've got the boys back with me. Monkey Magic in the corner with Anthony Bazzullo, the Peppy on the other side.
Yo, what's up?
How boys been? How you been this week?
Good. Been a good week for sport.
Yeah, definitely. So I think we'll get stuck in for this week's podcast, and as always, we're going to go through the week that was in the NRL, but most of the focus, of course, on State of Origin. We've got some AFL news, predominantly around the trades, and then we'll go into the NFL, F1, a little bit of rugby talk, and UFC. I think we'll do us for today, and maybe we'll throw in some EPL and cricket if you're lucky.
Lot to cover. Let's get stuck in, huh?
Yeah, so let's get stuck in. The big game on Wednesday night being State of Origin. So we'll start there. What do you boys think?
Sloppy. Yeah, you could tell that it's a end of season State of Origin. Obviously, a lot of guys hadn't played for a few weeks, maybe
a month.
Yeah, maybe a few injuries, or guys playing hurt at least. The first half was pretty dismal, a lot of drop ball. Obviously, the Blues coming out on top 10-0 in that first half, but managed to lose the game 18-14.
I very much think they probably should have been in front by about at least 20.
Yeah.
With the kind of ball and possession they had. But I thought it was interesting that, and I'm nitpicking here, that the refs picked up on every single Queensland forward pass and then missed all the New South Wales forward pass.
Take those maroon glasses off.
So I'd say the touchy on one side was doing his job, the touchy on the other side, maybe not so much.
Yep. So first half, obviously, Blues, not dominant, but the better side, showed on the scoreboard. As you mentioned, probably should have scored 3 or 4 tries, given their field position and possession.
Yeah, I think Queensland's defence was pretty good towards.
They were good, yeah.
Especially to block out Adokar at least once, block him out, and I think they did the same to Tupou on the other side.
Yeah, they did, yep.
So to keep themselves in the contest, though, they were probably, they weren't the dominant side in that first half, definitely, with Queensland, with New South Wales being on top. But they had their moments and had their chances, which I think gave them the confidence going into the second.
Indeed. What happened? The Maroons didn't score a point in the first half, run in 18 in the second half to clinch victory. Did they just get fired up by big Wayne Bennett at halftime, or?
Well, they had. You got to say the Wayne and Mal being in the sheds definitely helps. Definitely gave them the confidence, but I think also the fact they went into the half with only down by 10 and gone. We're still in this.
We're in this, yeah.
Everyone was saying they're going to put 40 on us. Like they've been talking about that back line all week, about how good they are and how, they're just going to run circles around us out wide. But in the end, I think, they probably gave them some confidence going into halftime, only being down by 10, knowing that, that's 2 tries. We can get that. We can definitely compete here in the second half.
Just got the highlights on here. Just watching Adokar getting knocked out of bounds in the 3rd minute. Really good defensive effort, and Queensland should be proud of the way they defended in that first half under the pump.
Yeah, and you look at it as well because New South Wales knock on the ball off the kickoff, so Queensland get the first chance of attack. But then straight away they're down the other end with a very close scoring opportunity. New South Wales definitely had their chances to put on more points, and they didn't do it. Do we want to talk about centres? I think it's probably
let's talk about centres. Obviously Gutho.
It's probably the biggest story that's come out of it.
And Jack White and playing in the centres. Neither of them are centres.
1 and 6. Yeah.
You're not going to take Tedesco out of 1, so fair enough. I think Gutho playing 3. We talked about this last week. We thought Jack Whiten should have played 6. Having watched that game, I think that confirms our thoughts. I think Whiten would have been more effective as a 6.
I think he should have probably defended better against Dan Gagai, but as always, Gagai went to a different level in State of Origin.
What is with that dude? He always turns it up for Origin, doesn't he?
I think Jack only had one really good run, and that was towards in the second half.
Yeah, he just didn't get much ball, did he?
Yeah, that was the other thing. He didn't get much ball, but then Gagai seemed to have his run of it against Jack. Just his stat was just too good, and Though for Jack, that's the only difference is instead of being 3 out, he's two out or 3 in, 2 in. So he's only moved over 1 spot, so he should be doing better in that situation. But yeah.
Yeah, for me, Whiten's dangerous when he's getting that ball at first or second receiver. You don't know if he's going to take the line on or if he's going to dish it. His kicking game's good. Have they named the sides for next week?
I don't think they've named, or they have. Yeah, James, we'll run through the sides in a minute. But I think, going back to your point about Jack not getting enough quality ball out there, I'm pretty sure Kiri was the one playing inside him, who had a pretty average game. There were concerns that he might have broken his wrist earlier, and they were going to put Walker in the game, but it seems he was all right and he toughed it out. But again, that risk of him getting injured, and his size, they seem to pick on him definitely.
Yeah.
And I think that helped with Papale trying to get the run on. I thought Queensland's forward pack in the end were probably better.
Yeah.
Paulo really didn't have that impact you would hope for him.
And they got a lot out of their young guys, that Tino coming into their side, he was really good. Big Papa, obviously.
Yeah, I thought Lindsay and Welsh were pretty good before Welsh, I think, left late with a headed knock as well and didn't come back. But, and then if you look at the other side of Clint Gufferson and Catewell, so Clint being a fullback and Catewell being a second rower converted to centre, Catewell had an unreal game in the end.
In that second half, especially.
Definitely. And then even look at some of his highlights now, he definitely had his moments against Clint. You could see that the size difference probably played a part and that ability. But again, quality ball for Clint was probably lacking too. So he didn't. Yeah. Gufferson really didn't have any chances to actually use his ability, and probably as a not a guy that plays centre a lot, didn't know how do I get myself back into this game and get into it a bit more. So both of them, of course, left a bit lacking in what they should do, what they should have put on that game.
For sure. Speaking of head knocks, Big Boyd Cordner.
Again, another one to say, do you risk putting a guy like that in your side? This is kind of my risk with Cleary. You lose them and they disappear. So, of course, Boyd disappears for 10 minutes for his HIA and then comes back out. He did play on the rest of the game. What are your boys' thoughts on Boyd?
I'm not a doctor. I can only trust what the team doctor's gone with. It looked like a pretty big head knock, but I guess it is State of Origin. It's a tough sport. Full discretion to the medical staff. They thought he was good to go. But, yeah, it's funny how guys seem to be more prone to concussion than other guys.
Well, once you get one, it's a
recurring, accumulative.
That's the word I'm looking for.
That's a very long word for us boys here on the Esky.
It's not the C word I usually use, but that one will do.
That word starts with A, actually. Accumulative, I believe. Anyways, we are talking about rugby league here. We don't need the words don't need to be too long.
So, but the effect definitely adds up. So, and it's kind of fighting boxing thing. The more hits you take, the more your chin gets weaker. So you're more susceptible because your brain gets more used to, well, in this situation, I need to shut down. I need to protect myself. So, though maybe he didn't have any of the concussion symptoms, he definitely looked like he got KO'd, which is probably just as bad.
Yeah.
And considering his history, I think he's had 4 this year.
Yeah.
And then add into all the other ones he's had in his previous years in his career. That's too big of a number. Like it's, of course, he's going to sit out the rest of the year, based on advice I think he's been given. That he's not going to play the next 2 State of Origin games, which is probably fair. He probably shouldn't play the next one. But then you start thinking about his career long term, because for me, having seen him go off, I wouldn't have put him back on.
No.
Just history with concussions and having been had my fair share of them. It's different to how we were talking about Gary Ablett the other week about it's a shoulder injury. Like you can get surgery and you can fix those sorts of things. Yeah, it might be dinky, but you'll still be able to use it. Brain injuries are a completely different thing.
Yeah, for sure.
That's not something you can compare, and it
is very hard though because it is something that manifests later in life, as opposed to an acute musculoskeletal injury. anyways, they've got doctors. It's up to them. I guess it's not really our place to say, but yeah, good to see that he's going to sit out the last few games and hopefully comes back bigger and stronger in 2021. We just got footage of him here.
Yeah, just cops.
Yeah, just Kafusi's elbow straight on the temple.
No notes.
Yeah, he goes straight to sleep. So wishing Boyd all the best. Thanks for listening, Boyd.
Forward pass. So my probably final point on Boyd is like if you're in double digit for concussions, think about retiring.
Boyd, if you're listening, keep playing.
Do what you want to do.
Game 2.
Well, let's talk about the second half a little bit.
Yeah.
So we did mention that they came back into it into the second half. So down 10-0, won the second half.
18-4 they won that second half.
Yeah.
Yep.
With tries to Brimson, Coates and Munster.
Yep.
DCE 3 from 3 on the conversions.
So that Brimson try was kind of reminded me a little bit of like a Billy Slater try.
Yeah.
It's like following through, getting a good bounce of the ball and picking it up and scoring. Capewell did really well to, one, get past Jack, and then two, put in the kick to – actually, no, it was easy at Gufferson. So get past Gufferson, beat his man, and then put the kick in to score.
Well, we mentioned the Queensland forward pack, but shout out to the Queensland backs where we thought that – and everyone thought that they were really out-skilled and on paper before the game that all these young guys wouldn't have been able to stick it to the experience and the talent of the Blues back line. Brimson was great. Xavier Coates was great. Kurt Capewell off the bench playing centres was great.
Yep.
These young guys really stepped up, and State of Origin brings out the best, especially out of Queensland, as it seems.
Well, we kind of talked about it. They're doing a bit of a youth movement, but this is what you want to see is very similar to the 06 or 05, like bringing those young guys and see what they're doing, what capabilities they've got, and then coach them with good coaches. So I think that definitely helped. So I thought it was interesting towards the end of the first half, New South Wales played very direct. So Cook taking the ball, scampering out of dummy half, very direct on the forward pack. We're supported with Tedesco, of course, running around, and they kind of carved Queensland up towards the end of the second half where they probably should have scored more and they didn't. But then in the start of the second, end of the first half, and then the start of the second half, Queensland seemed to, they went with their arm wrestle. They tried to grind them out, force them, make it very hard for them to do that game plan. Cook fast, big hit-ups, followed by Cook, supported by Tedesco. They closed it out and then tried to force the game into Keary and Luke Keary and Nathan Cleary's hands.
Well done.
And they found, I guess, very lacking, and they didn't have any creativity, and they couldn't really get around the Maroons after they took away that direct approach. It wasn't until late where they got that late try to Adokar where they thought they'd gotten some of that momentum back. So I think injuries from the game. So Cameron Murray had what looked like a very bad hyperextension.
Yeah, it looked nasty, didn't it?
It looked real nasty. I thought it was actually going to be worse than the hamstring injury he ended up with.
So is that what they've ruled him? It's just a tear in the hamstring?
Well, or a strain?
Yeah.
I think
his knee's okay?
I believe so. I think it's all just hamstring.
Yeah, lucky, because that looked gross.
Yeah, it looked pretty bad.
Yeah.
Boyd Accordner, of course, out. I think
Luke Keary is he
I think he's right, but he looks like they're going to drop him anyway.
healthy omission?
Yeah, so I think the change is going to be for Cody Walker.
Cody Walker, yeah.
What do you think about that as a 6? I would have thought.
Well, Cody's been in an unreal form. Obviously, we're here in Canberra, and we've seen a fair bit of Jack White, and this year he won the Dally M. We think he should probably play in 6, but I don't mind Cody Walker going in there. When he's on, he's very explosive, and scored some sort of ridiculous number of tries this year for a 5'8". I'll have a look, but I think it's about 12 or 13.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. He didn't do too much, I thought, off the bench in game 1. But when he lights it up, he does light it up.
I still think it would have been better to put Jack at 6 and then Lomax or someone like that in centres.
You love Jack. And
Put a specialised centre in specialised centre.
the guy that won the Dally M from 5'8" should probably be playing 5'8".
Yes. Yeah. My points exactly. And then I guess it might come down to do they have enough specialty centres available to them?
True.
Because if they put Cody Walker, say they move Jack across and they want to then move Gufferson probably out, looks like he might be the unlucky one that gets cut from this. Do they have two centres that they're then happy
They can
with?
bring in Zach Lomax and I think
one.
Nick Kotrick was in that preliminary
True.
squad.
He was there. I think they should have, I think we talked about it before, they've got options. So I reckon they should probably, my preference is Jack at 6 and then bring in at least one specialty centre, if not two.
Just trying to bring up this fact check here on the Cody Walker tries.
Because, and while you do that, I think the other movements is Paulo's going to switch with
He
Payne Haas.
scored 10 tries.
There you go. I think Jack scored 13, so I'll just keep going. So
everything's coming up, Jack. Everything is coming up, Jack.
So Payne Haas and Paulo switch for the next game. There's some talk about where does Pappenhausen fit into it, if at all, because he's still coming back from injury.
Yeah.
Then there was Dane Finucane, I think, comes into the side.
Yep, Finucane's in.
Because Murray's out, and I think Crichton, of course, will get the start.
Yep.
But Nathan Brown and Isaiah Yeo, of course, are all there too.
Yeah, getting their first caps, I think, both of them, Nathan Brown and Isaiah Yeo.
So that's what New South Wales are looking like. For Queensland, I think AJ Brimson, the fullback, looks like he's going to be out, so I'm not sure who's going to play fullback for them.
Have they named it?
See if you
3 days away.
See if you can find the team. But I think Kurt Capewell's the one that most likely. Well, he's in doubt, of course. He's got a bit of a tight groin, but he played through it, so we'll see how we go.
He's named as centre.
Yeah, he should play. Of course, Branko Lee's still out, which could mean that Edric Lee might get a run, which would be terrible. Valentino Holmes. He comes in fullback. I did see that news.
Pretty handy bloke to come in. Obviously,
had a pretty rough year, but
and only his first year back after 2 years over in the States. But
a guy like Guy that plays better when he plays for Queensland.
Yeah, and very explosive, very fast. He's a good in.
Yep. So I think Cohen Hess goes out, and Jaden Suwa, I think, comes in.
Yeah. Off the bench, he might be starting this week.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Game 2 in Sydney.
Game 2 in Sydney.
What do you reckon has to happen?
Oh, before we get to that, I just wanted to wrap up and just do a quick run through of the teams from game 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just before we were saying James Tedesco, 300 plus yards, 32 runs. Meters, sorry. Close enough.
Yeah,
30 yards in a second.
He hit the ball up 32 times, which is unreal, out of fullback 300 metres in a losing side. I think the top 3 metre eaters were all New South Welshmen.
Mm-hmm. I think they made a lot of good meters, definitely in that first half too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they were definitely competitive in the second. They just kind of lost their way a little bit. Which, if I run through it, like Daniel Tupu, I think
235 metres, 28 runs.
Was solid. Didn't really get many options in the air at all. Which is, his strong suit. So,
we were saying Jack wasn't getting much ball. He had 179 metres.
Well, he did have that big break late in the game down the side.
Yeah.
So it's probably about 70 of them.
Yep.
So he did have like that. That was that one big moment. But the rest of the game, he was his defense. He was picked apart in defence. Same with Clint. Adokar scored a double.
Mm-hmm.
So and Adokar looked good.
Fox.
Yeah,
he
Fox.
signed with South this week, didn't he?
I missed that. So you could have done.
Right.
Which South just get better.
We were talking about it last week, and it was all. I'm
rumour,
sure I heard that on the radio. I'll fact check that.
So then Cleary and Cleary, 6 and 7.
Keary and Cleary.
Yeah, I said them both, didn't I?
I think there was 2 L's in both.
Who cares? One's garbage and one's got a big chin. So we'll keep going. So need to be better.
Yeah.
So I think Cody Walker, of course, comes in at 6, and Nathan's got to do better at 7 to lead him through. I don't think they got enough out of their 2 front rowers. So maybe that's probably why Paulo went to the bench. I think he makes more sense. He's more impactful off the bench, and then get Payne Haas to start. Cook was good. Boyd Cotton got concussed. Frizzell, I think, was pretty good. Actually, I thought he was solid. I think Jake was probably a bit too quiet, tackle machine, but I don't think he gave him enough in attack.
Not much in attack. I think he made 54 tackles. So.
Crazy amount of defense, but I think they probably lost their way a little bit in attack. But if you run through the Maroon side, like Brimson, I thought had an unreal game. I thought he played really, really well.
He was really good.
Coates did what he had to do on the wing. I think Gagai had an unreal game, and so did Catewell. I think I remember I was texting the boys saying Catewell for president. For the fact he came in late notice, replace the GOAT himself, Branko Lee, and then had an unreal game, and very much had a hand in 2 of the tries that put Queensland in the game.
Yep.
I thought Sammy was a bit quiet. They had raps on him being like a little GI, very young, so hopefully you can see some growth out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Munster, I thought looked dangerous.
Yeah,
with
he
the
did.
ball in his hands. DCE I thought was probably what you wanted out of Nathan, was a lot of direction and leading him around.
Just
again, a lot of veteran.
Back to Munster. After the Mad Monday that he had to be able to play like that on the Wednesday night, athlete. What an athlete.
Absolutely, athlete, yeah. I thought Welch was good until he left. Friend, solid, unspectacular. I thought it was actually really interesting.
Did his job defensively.
I thought it was really interesting, though. They brought Ben Hunt on earlier and after about 30, and they didn't take Friend off. So they had Friend, Hunt, Munster, and DC, of course, all on this field at the same time.
It's like they were playing an extra half.
Yeah, and they were kind of switching them a bit off and on. So sometimes Hunt was at first receiver, sometimes he's playing hooker.
Mm-hmm.
It gave them a little bit. It didn't kind of work out much in the first half. It kind of worked a little bit better in the second, but it just gave a little different look and direction to the team, which might have been unexpected, especially when those forwards are starting to get tired, that it really helped them. So I thought that was an interesting play from Wayne there. Of course, being a big Ben Hunt fan from previous years.
Yeah. Where was this for the Dragons?
Yeah, definitely. Papali looked great, and I think
he's unreal, isn't he?
Oh, he's so good, and did his job.
Best prop in the game?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say now.
Definitely, and he put it to Paulo and us, and got his meters, made it hard for them. Had a couple of offloads. Like he did what he had to do to keep him in this game. Kafusi, I thought was good. Probably a little quiet. Hess, I don't think he really added anything to the Queensland team.
He's lost his spot.
Yeah, of course, lost his spot. So I thought Tino looked good, just size wise.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah,
kind of an imposing figure there, and as we were saying last week, they went big on the team. So I thought it kind of worked. Lindsay Collins and Jai Arrow, skipping over Ben Hunt because we already talked about him, did what they needed to do. I think bringing Jai Arrow off the bench after 30 and having him, being a front rower, but more athletic, movable front rower.
Well,
was really good.
He had 102 metres, 27 tackles off the bench, so
yeah,
definitely did his part.
Definitely, and Jaden also looked like he belonged. So hopeful for game 2. It was game 2 Sydney.
I think we said all we wanted to see was a contest. We were thinking maybe it was going to blow out the other way. We definitely got a contest, and we've got a series on our hands. How good?
Yeah, the proud Queenslander over here, of course, saying if we sneak Adelaide, we could be in.
Yeah, he's wearing his Maroons jersey, and
have to stick to you boys somehow.
And we'll be 1-1 come Wednesday night, and have a series decider in 10 days' time.
Possibly. Quite possibly. Yeah. Well, it's you play it.
It's in Sydney.
It's in Sydney. They've
got a good record there.
New South Wales should be favourites.
They will
should be favourites in Sydney, even more so. But, everyone's now talking about the 95 Queensland team where complete underdogs weren't expected to win a game and then won the series 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
Would hate that for New South Wales, but also fuck them.
If they win 3-0, oh my goodness, I'm going for Tasmania next year in State of Origin.
Well, it's New South Wales will run the last two.
Yeah, it's good for the game.
Yeah. It's good for the competitive.
Yeah, a contest.
And Queensland definitely proved that they can do it.
Yeah, and deserve the win.
Yeah.
So, picks for Wednesday?
Lose.
Queensland.
Lose.
That was predictable.
We'll see how we go. So, that'll wrap up State of Origin. Just some other news in the NRL. So, one of the biggest stories, Jack Byrne finally going back to the Dragons Junior. So Dragons already paying overs for him, so good luck with that.
I heard the Broncos still have to pay out a bit of his contract.
Yeah, Dragons still paying overs though.
Yeah, they did too.
I don't.
They don't. What do they need?
Is he going
a center/6? Maybe that. I don't know.
Yeah. Assuming Corey 6, Hunt's 9, and then who played 7 for them?
Adam Clune
Clune.
was playing a lot of 7 for him this year.
So,
They interestingly left out Tristan Saylor, the young son of Wendell, who was looking like could be a future Dragons 5'8".
Yep.
Maybe they would want to, shuffle around the halves, play Bird at 6. Maybe they just picked him up as a centre. They did lose Ewan Aitken to the Warriors, so maybe he'll just slot into that centre. Showed a lot early in his career. It's been a little bit lacklustre, you would think.
Been hurt a lot.
Been hurt a lot. So, we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Dylan Walker.
Yeah, interesting story to follow on from that. He got arrested during the week for assaulting 2 blokes.
In a pizza shop. And it was,
pizza shop, yeah.
It was dad and son, I think.
Why?
I don't know. Look,
he had his troubles with his missus.
Yeah, and was acquitted.
Yeah.
She did change her story, but
yes.
Anyways, we don't need to speculate. We don't need to speculate on that's what a court of law is there for. He could be in hot water here. Who knows? The NRL is pretty strict these days with the discrepancy.
It's just dumb.
Yeah. Anyways,
Fighting blokes in fucking pizza shop.
it's a good place to fight people. I think.
Just getting in some off-season training, wasn't
Where's my fucking pepperoni?
Yep.
I think he had the pizza too. Anyways.
Back on Addo-Carr, there's no deal done yet.
Yeah, I did see that, so I'm spreading fake news. It's fake. It's fake news.
Yeah.
It's fake news. Stop the count.
Or keep on counting in some states.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, Addo-Carr looks like he might be going somewhere, as per last week's podcast.
Yeah.
Somewhere in Sydney. And if he goes to South, that's an unreal backline for them.
Yeah, definitely. Another grand final news, Mansour's been dropped. He's been dropped from the Panthers.
Really?
Yeah.
That's strange.
He didn't do very much this year, though.
No.
His try numbers have been down in the last
Has
couple of
been
years.
down. Former Origin player.
He got a really good deal from Gus when Gus was there because Gus showed a bit of loyalty to him, so he was on decent money, but they are probably paying overs for him, so...
Dragons should have signed him instead of Bird.
Yeah.
He's one of the sexiest men in the league.
Definitely. But he's probably a little undersized for a winger.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Didn't score enough tries, so...
Yeah. They've got good young backs there at Penrith.
Definitely. They've got lots of good juniors coming in, so...
Someone will snap him up.
Yeah. So Dragons pay overs for him.
Bulldogs, maybe. That wraps up our NRL news.
Yeah, I think that's everything for NRL this week. State of Origin, of course, Wednesday night being the big story, and we will wrap that all up next week when we get to it. Mm-hmm. So we'll move into the AFL news. So, of course, no games being played at the moment. It's all on trade news and deals. So the last I saw on the Jamie Cameron deal was GWS actually matched what Geelong were offering, which was a big deal. It's actually the first time that's happened in about 9 years. So, of course, they definitely want to keep him. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't surprise me when you look at all the other guys trying to get out of GWS that they're like, well, we want to keep at least one of these guys. I think they were originally So the deal that I think the Geelong offered was about 5 years of the 44.5 mil mark. And in return, GWS would have got their first pick, which was 9, 7?
Yes.
And around that.
Mid. Yeah, it was mid round.
So now, since they've matched, there's also more additional talk about, what other options, trade options are there? Do we need to get a second party in to kind of facilitate this all happening? Are Geelong going to have to come in and pay a bit extra, sweeten it all up? I don't think there's been anything new in the situation in the last couple of days.
And not that I've heard of no new developments.
But it's probably one of the bigger stories.
Jez set to make at least $4.5 million over 5 years, be a $900 maybe $1 million man. So I think he's still fishing as well. I think I haven't checked today, but I'm pretty sure as of yesterday, still out there.
His agent's sorting it for him.
Yeah, hunting Barra up in the Northern Territory. Good on him. I hope you're getting some bites up there, Jez. Plenty else going on in the AFL this year in terms of trades.
So run us through, Peppy.
So Brad Crouch from the Crows, he is set to go to the St Kilda Saints. Big loss for Adelaide, key ball getter, and obviously splits up the Crouch duo, the two Crouch brothers. Isaac Smith, handy player. He is going from Hawthorn to Geelong. Jesse Hogan is set to leave the Dockers to go to GWS. Big key forward.
Yep.
Maybe preempting the loss of Jeremy Cameron.
Possibly, yep.
And there is plenty of rumours surrounding Adam Treloar, one of the best midfielders in the game. Could be leaving the Collingwood Magpies. There'll be a bunch of clubs that's set to throw a bit of money towards him.
So I think if I listen to that right, all those guys were getting out of bottom 8 teams and moving into top 8 teams, or trying to get to teams that were
leaving Crows to Saints. That was a bottom 10 to top 8. Hawks to Cats. Hawks didn't make and then Dockers. That's all guys chasing better teams, I suppose.
Yeah,
and maybe a little bit more money.
Well, if you can get both, win.
Yeah.
So
Indeed.
Cannot knock them for that. That's definitely in their favour for doing it.
Yeah, and if the Crows want to hand out $1 million contract to Pizzulo this year, I'll come down there and play for you. He's sucking. So do I. So
you can't be worse than his Flower. So.
Oh, he's definitely got a better rig. That's it for our AFL news. Obviously, off season, a little bit quiet this week, other than a few trades.
Yeah,
let's go over to the United States of America.
Yeah, so the big NFL. I think best way to do this, we'll run through last week's games, and we've already, of course, this being Sunday night, we've missed the first game of this round, but we will talk about all the games coming up tomorrow. So what happened last week, James? Run us through the games.
Yep, so did we talk about this last week? But Saints, Green Bay beat out San Fran 34-17.
Yeah, so that was the Week 9 Friday game.
Yep.
Packers, big bounce back, after losing to the Vikes.
That Niners team, though.
Oh, man.
No Jimmy. Like, we were just talking about last week, Jimmy G and Kittle being back. Like, they're looking good. Next minute, a week later.
Jimmy G gets benched. Kittle's out for the year.
Yeah, well, it looked like a benching, but it's come out he's got an ankle injury, so which I think needs some work. He's on IR again, so he's gone. So Mullins played, of course, for the rest of that game.
Can you remember a team being more injured than the San Francisco 49ers?
They've got like 20 dudes on IR.
That's
crazy. It's crazy.
So
that's how you go from.
I saw this meme this week. It said when you're in season 20 of Madden and you're just using made up players, and that was the 49ers team.
It's a bit like that at the moment,
isn't it?
They're in struggle town. Losing Kittle as well. Hurt him massively. Debo, of course, hurt. They've got basically no receiving options.
Nah, they're stuffed everywhere.
Yeah,
and
they're struggling.
Kittle's the second best tight end in the game.
Yep.
They're in a hard division. They're up shit creek.
Yeah. So Kittle, broken bone in the foot. He's gone for 8 weeks, and that's probably his season done with the way the 49ers are playing. They're bottom of the division and probably not going to make it out.
That's it. No. All right, so we will go back to week 8.
Yeah, let's go through week 8, yeah.
My bad. So we had Buffalo Bill at home beating New England 24-21.
Yeah, and it seems pretty apparent that the Bills will wrap up the AFC East. Cam's thrown 3 touchdowns, 11 picks, I think.
Yeah, he's had post-COVID, he's been terrible.
Yeah, he's been really bad. This game was close though, 24-21.
Yep. Mind you, Cam was the passing leader for the game, so very much
Well,
all the groundwork from Josh Allen.
they were on track to win this game, and Cam fumbled on the last possession for the Patriots. Took a run, got first down, going down the sideline, and of course fumbled it, turned it over. Another turnover for him, which then led to them, of course, losing. So he very much took responsibility for the loss. But yeah, he's got to go. He's got to get back to where he was helping the team, not hindering it.
The Bills' rushing offense, unreal. 190 yards on the ground.
Zach Morris had a day.
Yeah, Zach Moss, 2 touchdowns, 81 yards. Devin Singletary, 86 yards. Josh Allen getting in through his obligatory rushing touchdown.
Yeah. The Pats D's the people figured it out now, and of course they're missing half of it.
Yeah.
So they figured out where the weakness is.
It might have been a different year for the Patriots had their defense not all pulled out for COVID.
Yeah, and I think Bill did a really good job to get them to where they are now, and tried to hide their deficiencies as much as he could. But we're 7 weeks, 8 weeks in
8
now.
weeks,
Yeah,
so
Patriots 2-5.
people have figured out where their weaknesses are, and they're done so.
So in the last
looking good.
20 years, do you guys know how many times the Patriots have won the AFC East?
All of them.
Great guess. 19. I think there was that Matt Castle year when Brady...
They went 11-5 that year, though.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins won I'm pretty sure on that.
Who was playing quarterback with the Dolphins then?
Fuck if I know. But there's been one...
Well, did they have Vinny T for that year? No.
Maybe. Old Man River. Yeah, so there's been one year. And here's another fun fact for you.
Oh, no. Was it the Jets that won that? It was the Sanchez.
No. It was the Dolphins. I looked at this. It was like...
Because it was that year that Sanchez took the Dolphins to the took the Jets. Sorry, to the
They made the playoffs. I think
the playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, he took them to the AFC Championship game.
No,
Sure
the New
they
York
went-
Jets,
Yeah, I'm sure they went that deep and then they lost because it was like Rex Ryan's first or second year there.
AFC Championship game.
Yeah, they went deep.
Someone pull that up, please. Whilst you do that, I'll give you another fun fact. The Indianapolis Colts have won the AFC East more recently than the Buffalo Bills have.
Wow. Considering
Wow.
now they're in a different division. Yeah. That's,
Yeah, and have been for 20 years, as long as I've followed the sport.
Yeah.
Any info on Jets making an
I'll
AFC
keep looking.
Championship game? I think they made the playoffs that year with Sanchez, but I don't think they made that far. Next game.
Next
Monks?
keep running the games while.
So probably another team to be affected by COVID fairly significantly. Tennessee lost to Cincinnati 31-20.
Yeah, probably upset of the round.
Yeah, definitely.
Joe Burrow, he looked good.
Looks good.
Yeah.
I think Tennessee secondary kind of struggled from what I saw. It looked like the Bengals D played pretty well, and I know AJ Brown and Corey Davis and their tight ends kind of didn't get as many touches as you'd think. I think Tannehill still had a pretty decent game.
Yeah, 233 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick.
Yeah, not a huge day, but solid enough. But yeah, not enough.
Derrick Henry
Henry, yeah.
had 112 on the ground and a touchdown. But yeah, it wasn't enough to match Cincinnati. Just a really good team effort, and with Joe Mixon out injured, really good from the Bengals. Good to see.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yep. So after that, we had Las Vegas beating out Cleveland 16-6.
Cleveland aren't for real.
And this was probably the most underwhelming game of the round, where we're sort of expecting, a few offensive fireworks and, Yeah, maybe
Definitely a lot
maybe an
more.
entertaining game. Yeah,
Yeah, low scoring than
low
we
scoring
would have
defenses
expected.
showed up. Cleveland only beats bad teams, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. Their record is a bit phony.
Yep. Yeah, so have you got it, Sean?
No, I'm still looking. Keep going.
All right. So after that, we had Indianapolis at Detroit, 41-21.
Colts actually look good on offense for once. It's normally
Put up
been,
a few points.
Yeah, it's been their defense that's really been carrying them this year. Detroit, well, they're the same old Detroit. They've lost a fair few now. They're 2-5.
3 and 4.
3 and 4.
Yeah. 0-3 at home as well.
They technically could still make the playoffs. You wouldn't expect it in that division. Rivers didn't throw a pick.
No.
He had 263 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Hines had an unreal game.
They were good on the ground as well, with Wilkins and Nyheim Hines had 2 receiving touchdowns. Colts, and with that Titans loss, they'll be looking pretty good in the AFC South. Moving on.
Yeah, so after
Well,
that,
we've been talking about teams that are for real, and we're worried about where they are, and they've got another win. Lions, of course, middle of the pack team, but they're still trudging along.
Yeah,
yeah.
they go to 5-2. Looking really hard now for the Jags and Texans in that division. You'd pretty much be putting a line through them 2 teams.
Yeah. Yeah, so after that, we had Minnesota beating out Green Bay 28-22.
Another big upset in the round. Vikes go to 2-5 with that win. Don't know what happened with the pack. This was at home as well for the pack. I think Dalvin Cook had all 4 of Minnesota's touchdowns. He's looking really good. Kirk Cousins threw the ball, get this, 14 times.
Dalvin Cook killed him.
Yeah. He had 30 touches, or 30 carries, I should say. 163 on the ground, 3 rushing touchdowns, and a sneaky 68 yards and a touchdown in the air.
200 all-purpose. Like he murdered them.
Did either of you guys have to play against him in fantasy?
No.
No,
I didn't either.
I don't think so.
Poor bastard that did.
So I found it. So New York Jets in 2009 went 9-7. 2010 they went 11-5 with Mark Sanchez as the quarterback, Rex Ryan as the coach. They finished second, of course, in the division, not first, but 11-5 still nothing to sneeze at. They won the wild card, they won the divisional, and then lost in the AFC Championship to the Steelers, who I think went on to win the Super Bowl.
So the Jets were good.
For those 2 years, yes.
The 2 years in the last.
I had completely forgotten about that. Well done, Sean. I'll have a sip to that. I had no idea that the Jets were in an AFC Championship game.
So I think the following year the butt fumble happened, and then they've been downhill since.
Surely that would have been off their defense as well.
Well,
they
Rex
would have-
Ryan was the coach, so
And
yeah.
they had Darrell Reeves, I think.
Yes, they had Reeves there as corner.
That's right.
A reasonable pass rush, I think. Mohamed Wilkerson.
Yes, he was there.
Yeah.
I've
They had a
lot
good
of guys
pass
now,
rush
so-
in the day.
And we're getting 2 players out of the Jets defense from 10 years ago. That'll do.
it'll do. Anyway, keep running through the games, James. What was next?
Yeah, so after Minnesota Green Bay, we had the New York Jets getting absolutely smashed by Kansas City 35-9.
I thought this game could have ended up worse.
Yeah. Jets kind
True.
of, the Chiefs kind of seemed to take it easy on them from what
Yeah.
I saw. And Mahomes did play into the fourth quarter, but then did eventually sit. It took it a bit longer than we thought. We said half time, but
He did throw 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. Did you see some of their plays as well? They're running some really tricky stuff on offense. Mecole Hardman obviously had the big touchdown run on the, I suppose you'd call it a reverse, but it's it's like a touch pass. He goes in front of the quarterback and Mahomes just gives him a little 1 yard touch pass and he just uses his speed, gets around the edge and takes it to the house. They also do this one where Mahomes will roll out to the right. He has Kelsey sort of look like he's blocking and then Mahomes just gives him like a little, it's like a one hand, not even a shovel, it's underarm It's like a rugby league pass with one hand, if you will.
Just offloads it to him.
Just to Kelsey,
Yeah, right.
and then he just walks in like it's a bit of a sexy play. And then that Tyreek Hill, whoo,
Yeah.
oh mama.
Go deep, man. I'll throw you the ball.
And Big Paddy Mahomes gave him the piggyback after that second touchdown game. And Mahomes finishes with 5 TDs. He's really good at the football.
Yeah. Jets, on the other hand, really bad at the football.
Surprised
how-
I managed
how
9
Adam-
points.
How Adam Gaze still has a job, I don't know. Considering they're 7,
0-8. They're
on
0-8.
track.
Yep.
First time they've been that bad in 20 years, which is surprising.
And, they're in the driver's seat now for Trevor Lawrence, and you'd think they'd take him and try to move Sam Darnold on somewhere else.
Yeah, unlucky for Darnold, I guess, because he hasn't had much around him.
Well,
He's had a garbage coach and not much offensive talent besides
Yeah.
Crowder, and they had Bell there for a little bit, but now he's gone.
Yeah, if he was in a good system, I reckon he wouldn't be a bad quarterback.
well, I guess that's the question. Do you move on from Donald or do you try and build
Nah,
something?
I think they take Trevor.
Take Trevor?
Yeah, he's been putting up
Yeah.
unreal numbers.
He's the talk, he's a generational talent, kind of
Yeah.
like Andrew Luck was. So
They
you
could
take him.
could be 3 quarterbacks that go in the top 5 next year, with Justin Fields and Trey Lance, isn't his name?
Sam,
that North Dakota State fella.
I know
Yeah,
who you're talking about.
yeah. It could be. Watch out! Could be 3 QBs in the top 5.
Well, the last 3 years they've had QBs, a huge run on them. So
Yep.
there's a lot of QB talent coming out of the college game, which is definitely helping the NFL game. And,
Yeah, for sure.
it's harder to, 5 years ago you could say half the league didn't have starting quarterbacks, so you'd think they'd want to keep the following year.
No, yeah.
Whereas now you're probably down to a handful of teams.
Yeah,
that
there's
have
probably 5 or 6 teams that don't have, a
come-
franchise quarterback, and then
the Jets aren't one of them. You think you keep rolling with Sam Darnold and see what you got.
yeah,
Well, like the Jags probably don't have anyone they want.
yeah. Or even Minshew's,
Yeah, well, they've benched him, so he's not playing this week.
who have they got?
Some no name.
Probably the Cowboys with injuries.
Yeah. Well, Dallas are playing, and again another no name. So there's
What's his
they're
name?
struggling.
Danucci.
It was a different bloke this time.
Another one.
Yeah, he got benched, so they're now on to 4th string.
Right.
Wow.
America's team, huh?
Yeah, they're in all sorts. We'll
Very
get to them.
much so.
Keep going.
We will. So after that, we had Miami at home beating LA Rams 28-17 in Tua's first start.
A little bit of an upset. Coaches don't look too bad after benching a reasonable Fitzpatrick this year.
Well, Tua only threw for 90 yards, and
I didn't know that.
it was like 9 from 17 or something.
Right.
12 from 22, but
Close enough.
very similar, yeah.
Oh, he's over 50.
He's like 55%.
He did score. He did throw his first touchdown, of course.
Yeah. How did they win this game, by the way?
Uh,
I'm just looking at the numbers
They
here.
I think they had a pick 6 and a
Must have been-
return
yeah.
punt touchdown. so-
Yeah, because I'm just saying now, Tua
I thought Rams would be better.
Tua
but
had
like,
93 passing yards, a passing touchdown. Miles Gaskin had a rushing touchdown.
and Gaskin's out hurt now, so he
Mm.
didn't play.
He's been good for me in fantasy.
Yeah, he didn't play the last quarter. I don't think. I think he's out this week.
Miami had that massive punt return for a touchdown.
Yeah, they had a punt
Yeah.
return touchdown of like 90 yards, and then they had a pick 6. I'm pretty sure as well.
Jared Goff, 61 passing attempts, if you don't mind.
It's a busy day.
355 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Might have been the difference.
So what's that mean? Miami
4 and 3.
4 and 3.
Yeah, like they're in a good spot.
Could make playoffs. Who'd have thunk it after last year's Miami Dolphins?
Well, yeah, I think though they won this game, I think there was some chat as well that they maybe were playing to market him with the fact that they
Sell some jerseys and
no to possibly move him if they could aim and trying to get Trevor Lawrence. So I don't think their record's not going to help them at this rate.
No.
you're winning too much.
Yeah, you're winning too much and it's not helping. And
Sure, I really hope that doesn't go through a team's head when they've won 3 games.
yeah,
If you've won 0, maybe it's different. But anyways, a lot of speculation.
Yeah, a lot of speculation.
Very interesting.
An interesting kind of idea that whether they do like a Josh Rosen kind of thing and draft him 1 year and then get him out the next. But Tua was good at Alabama. Like I can see he's got potential.
He was really good. Horrendous injury, obviously, but
One of the few guys to beat Trevor Lawrence
yeah,
was the Tua.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yep. So after that, we had Pittsburgh beating out Baltimore 28-24.
Good game. Came down right to the end to Lamar, trying to throw it in for a touchdown. They ran really, really well. I think both Edwards and J.K. Dobbins, had big days. I think they had over 200 rushing yards against that vaunted Steelers D, but their passing game was pretty average.
Yeah. Pittsburgh is 7-0.
Yeah, and are they the only undefeated team left?
Chiefs have lost.
Yep. Yeah, they're the only ones.
I know they're definitely the only ones in the AFC. I'm just not sure.
No, they're the only
undefeated team at this point.
Like Pittsburgh. I don't know how they won this game. Looking here, Big Ben had 182 yards passing, didn't turn the ball over, so that probably helps.
That helps.
They had 48 rushing yards.
Yep.
2 and 1. They must have scored. Did they score on D?
Yes, they had a pick six.
Pick six.
Yep.
There you go. That's pretty much
Points
the
on the board.
difference. Lamar had 2 touchdowns, 2 picks.
Yeah. I think Hollywood Brown was calling Lamar. Well, he was saying he's not happy with his role in the offense at the moment.
Hollywood was saying that.
Yeah, and he was definitely targeted on the incomplete pass that ended the game, which they had to score to, of course, win.
So Hollywood's stat line read 1 reception, 3 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 targets.
Yeah.
So he's probably frustrated not getting the ball enough.
Definitely.
How did they lose this game? They ran the ball 47 times for 265 yards. Dobbins had over 100 and Gus Edwards had 87. Lamar had a sneaky 65.
Yeah. I think it's just when they got in those situations where they needed to win through the air, they just didn't.
Lamar also got gave up 2 fumbles. I'll start again. Fumbled 3 times, lost 2 of them. So
there you go.
There's
So
a
4 turnovers in total. That doesn't help.
fumbleitis.
yeah.
Steelers are legit.
Their
Yeah,
defense.
they're looking good and they're grinding out tough games. So surprise packet a little bit, I reckon.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, if you asked me at the start of the year, I thought they'd be good. Might have been a playoffs team. I didn't think they would be undefeated halfway through the year.
And the only one at that.
That's it. So after that, we had Denver beating LA Chargers in a very close game, 31.
Stick that up, you pappers.
Wasn't this a classic Los Angeles Chargers game?
Yep. If you're a Chargers fan, you should be used to this by now.
Oh, yeah.
Up 14 or up 11 halftime.
Yep. And then they were up, I think, 21 points in the fourth quarter.
Was it 21?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, it
My
was
goodness.
24-10, and then fourth quarter put up 21 points.
Yeah, when Denver got that first touchdown, I think late in the third quarter or early fourth, I was like, they're on here. it's gonna
We're a
happen.
chance here,
The
boys.
Chargers are gonna choke. I think it did help the fact that Bosa went out with a concussion. He didn't come back in the game. That did allow very much for Denver to get to set a pocket that Locke could sit in and actually get some time, go through his motions, go through his checks and get rid of the ball. Up until that point, everything he was doing was outside the pocket. So it was really good for him to actually then be in the pocket and then show that capability, which was, is Drew Lock a pocket QB?
Yeah.
Considering everyone talks about how good he is on the run and getting outside, he was way better in the pocket. So hopefully he can get better protection next week against Atlanta and continue it.
Yeah, 248 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Pretty handy stat line.
Definitely.
Got his confidence back. Doing a bit of swagger dance too.
White guys can't dance.
Yeah. Unlike Pappas. But just like Pappas, Chargers can't
He's
win.
he's Olive.
So moving on from that, a game that went into overtime, we had New Orleans beating out Chicago 26-23.
Yeah, in overtime, like Jimmy the gentleman says, it was, I guess, a very Barry game. It was
26-23.
and then kicked a field goal, of course, to win it. So low-ish scoring by NFL standards.
By Saints standards.
By Saints standards, definitely.
yeah.
Kamara still carrying that team.
He had nine receptions for 96 yards. Jimmy, you got him in fantasy?
Yeah, I'm not going to complain about that.
Any trades?
Training for Mike Thomas. That'd be
Mike Thomas.
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyways.
No.
Mike, he's playing tomorrow, I think. Come on, Mike. Come on, buddy.
He'll wake
Needs
up
a
in
bit
the
of a
morning with
bounce back.
COVID.
Yeah. So I'm going to set my alarm for 4:30 in the morning and make sure my team's going to play. 'Cause how many times I've gone to bed Sunday night.
I'm feeling good, wake up.
And then
Inactive.
I wake up and 3 guys aren't playing. Jesus. Anyways, we're not talking about our fantasy teams. We're talking about the Saints-Bears game.
Good struggle, I think. We've been talking about Saints D, a bit of a defensive battle there too.
Saints D is sneaky good.
Yeah, they're definitely sneaky good. They definitely kept them in this game. Bears' offense, of course, not the greatest.
Mind you, Foles had 272 yards.
Solid outing.
Two
Had a
touchdowns through the pick.
Solid outing, yeah.
David Montgomery had 89 yards. This might be a fucking record for him.
Yep. Career best.
Allen Robinson's good, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, definitely, and underutilized in that team. So, one of those rare teams that probably need a quarterback, and choices between Foles and Trubisky's. You're looking at average and above average. So you're probably not thinking 5-year future with those two blokes.
Is Robinson a top 10 receiver in the league talent-wise?
Yeah, I'd say so.
He'd be there or thereabouts.
Definitely. He'd be competing with those guys.
Yeah, yeah.
He demands attention.
So both those teams go to 5-3, yeah?
Yep.
Oh, Saints 5-2 and Bears
But I
5-3.
think it's another team with a positive record the Bears haven't beat
Yeah, so Bears only beat bad teams.
so far, yeah. Though they look competitive in this one.
Indeed.
Though the Saints have been a bit iffy without Mike Thomas.
Yeah, the Saints haven't, although they're 5-2, haven't been the...
Haven't hit their straps yet.
No. And Drew's looking a little bit old.
Yeah, we'll see what they're like with Mike back tomorrow.
He's going to have 15 catches, 150 yards, 3 touchdowns. Please.
What was next,
You
James?
need it. So next up, we had Seattle at home beating out San Fran 37-27.
That Seahawks offense.
Dangerous. Well, DK had a huge day.
I was looking at some DK stats this week. He's played, I think, 23 games.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at his stat line, he's like Jerry Rice or Randy Moss in their first 23 games.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's caught 14 touchdown passes in 23 games.
It doesn't hurt that Danger Ross is on track to break the touchdown record
Yeah.
this year. So
Yeah.
How many is he on? Can anyone get that up?
he's in the 20s.
I can do it. I'll have a look. Yeah, they've played 8 games or 7, Seattle.
What was their record?
They're
What
on
was their
7.
So they've played 7.
7 games.
Yeah.
So 6-1, yep.
He's
And I think they might be up near like 20. He's 28-2 or some shit like that.
unreal, huh?
That's crazy.
And I think as comparison, because Peyton, of course, has got the record, I think, at the moment,
51?
55. I think Brady's was 51. But Brady...
So
I
that's
think
including postseason?
No, that's
Oh.
in
Season.
16 games.
That's in 16 games,
Yeah, okay.
It helped me definitely win a few fantasy championships.
Yeah.
Guys were like, I'm not picking any Broncos players.
Help
Dumb.
Denver, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think at this point, Peyton was at 23 and he had an unreal second half of the year, and that's why he's in front. And Brady was at 26. And I have a feeling Russ is at like 28. So he's already ahead of both those blokes where they were when they did 50 plus.
Russ is at 26.
26. Yeah. So equal what Brady was at this point. How many picks? 2?
6.
6. It's a little bit more than I thought. Still, crazy numbers.
This is
Crazy.
through 7 weeks. This is his passing touchdowns: 4, 5, 5, 2. Yawn. 3, 3, 4.
Yeah.
He's thrown 3 or more in all of his games but one.
Yeah, so I'm just on ESPN here. They are projecting 59 touchdowns this season.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he could do more, like, really.
Yeah, like,
Throwing in a few extra of those 4 touchdown games and
yeah.
he'll kill it. Like, he'll might get 60. Like, it's unreal.
It's so strange that there's this guy called Patrick Mahomes and he's not the best quarterback this year. So far.
Yeah.
So far. He could catch up. You never know.
Indeed.
He threw 5 last week.
Yeah,
A couple 5 weeks and he'll be right back in there.
There's some of the stuff you see just washing out your eyes going, sorry, how did you do that, Pat?
So good for the game, though. The quarterback talent is coming
Yeah.
through. Is just, people were worried with Breeze, Brady, Rodgers, and they're getting older and retiring.
No, there's a new generation.
Exactly.
coming through.
Where's the generation? And then it's here. The boys are already here and they've been playing well. Awesome.
Yeah. So just back on those TDs. So after Russell, we've got Aaron Rodgers on 24 and only 2 interceptions, and then Patrick Mahomes on 21, 1 interception. So
What about A-Rod? The game, obviously, they played Thursday, so he's got a game in hand, but 24 and 2.
Yep.
Crazy numbers.
crazy.
I
Having a
play with
great
Packers
year.
on Madden. I can't get them numbers on Madden. Keep getting picked off. He's better quarterback in real life than, and I'm, fudging the sliders and that, putting the interceptions down, passing
Difficulty
accuracy.
on rookie.
Yeah, and he's better than my computer game characters. Crazy.
Well, the other news for them is they missed out on Will Fuller this week, the trade deadline. So they pushed real hard to get Fuller, which I think would have been awesome for them.
Yeah, they needed
They need
receiver
someone-
number 2. I think Lazard, he's been injured, but when he comes back, I think he can be a legitimate number 2.
So I think that was a concern with Fuller. If you're going to have him as a rental for maybe a year, maybe 2 if you're lucky, he could be hurt a lot of that because he's definitely got those injuries. Having an unreal year actually this
Yeah,
year.
he has been really good. Stepped up, obviously, with Nuke Hopkins leaving.
Filling that hole definitely there for Houston. But again, you worry. Twins a hammy and then he's gone for 4 weeks. So.
And just while we're on receivers, shout out to Devontae Adams. He is really, really good.
Yeah, just needs to stay in the team. Just got to stop getting hurt, missing a week here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was having a look. He's 8 touchdown catches through 8 games. 670 yards, something like that. And
That's reliable.
he's having himself a year.
Yeah.
That Bears game, because we only just mentioned that before.
Yep.
Did you guys see the wide receiver, Javon Williams?
I know the guy. What did he do?
So, not instigated.
Was this?
Yeah, he fights the
Yeah.
Saints DB. He just comes out and then just
Punch?
Yeah, it was whacks him on the helmet and then just 1,
Well,
2.
I think
three
first he
pieces of
rips out his
soda.
mouth guard.
Yeah,
Is this the one you're thinking of? He comes around, rips out his mouth guard, and just starts laying into his helmet.
yeah, and just starts punching his helmet.
Why?
And then gets ejected. And then,
Why?
I think his story is that the DB pulled his mouth guard out a couple plays before. I think originally they speculated that he was coming in because he blindside blocked him or another player or something like that. But
I'm all for a bit of biff, but why do guys punch other guys in their helmet? What are you going to do? You're going to break your hand?
No, just grab the face cage and
Yeah,
uppercuts.
yeah, exactly.
That's how you do it. Face cage,
Or
uppercut.
take him to the ground, have a bit of a wrestle on the ground. But don't punch guys in their helmet.
especially if you're a receiver.
Oh yeah. Could you imagine being a
Breaking your
quarterback?
hand.
You're a quarterback and you're trying to develop a younger guy. Javon Wims, obviously not a big name in the NFL just yet, and you're out there. You're throwing him passes, 3-4 times a week at practice, and he goes out and breaks his fucking hand punching someone in the helmet.
Yeah, which is your money maker, cash and ball.
Yeah,
100%.
goodness gracious.
The other sneaky one is you just grab the top of his pads and you just punch him sneaky.
Get a little
bums.
jumper punch.
little jumper punch in the jaw. That's what you need to do. And get away.
How do you know about all these?
You play defense long enough. You learn a few things. But yeah, silly.
Dumb.
Silly, yeah.
Dumb.
Yeah.
No kind of great reason for that. And if you're not pulling off gold chains, there's no point fighting each
Snatching.
other.
Snatching chains. Who's the chain snatcher?
Talib.
I keep to live.
Yeah. On who was the Raiders wide receiver? Crabtree.
Crabtree. That sorry ass receiver, Crabtree.
Yeah. Stealing his chance twice.
Yeah.
See, now that's some gangster shit versus I'm pulling out your mouthpiece.
Yeah.
All right, go on, James.
Yes. So rounding out Sunday, we had Philadelphia at home beating out a very sorry Dallas
What a
23-9.
The Cowboys are awful.
Yeah.
Like they might
Unfortunate
be.
circumstances.
I think
They might be the second worst team in the NFL.
Wentz
They're
turned the ball
2-6
over
now.
4 times in this game and they still won.
For my word.
Like, and Zeke's not doing anything because he's facing 10 men in the box. Like,
And a few injuries on their offensive line. And
yeah, they're in a bad way.
yeah.
And I don't see any help for them this year.
In the worst division in football, and yeah, they just stink.
So the Eagles in the lead, or was Washington in the lead in that division?
Eagles should be, I think.
Yep, Eagles in the lead 3-4. Washington football team is 2-5.
Sounds about right. I think Washington have got the Giants this week.
Toilet bowl.
Wasn't on Thursday, but yeah.
No, that was 2 good teams going that, or goodish with the Niners. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah.
And then, rounding out week 8, we had Tampa Bay beating out New York in a closer game than we probably would have expected, 25-23.
Our punters club's got a bone to pick with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Had them -6.5. So lost that one. Shout out to Big Dog Ross Chilton if you're listening. Yeah, the Giants pretty much led this whole game.
Better than I thought they'd be. Their secondary, Logan, Ryan, and Isaac Yadam played better than I thought they would against Evans and Miller there.
Godwin obviously out.
Godwin, of course, obviously out. They took a lot of deep shots to Miller, and none of them really came off. I think, how many touchdowns did Brady end up throwing in this?
He ended up
I
throwing
know he
2.
got 2. I know Gronk
Yeah.
got 1 to keep his tally. So they were equal with Stephen Young and Jerry Rice for duo. So we know how we were talking about this last week.
Pretty handy company.
Yeah, so they were equal. Now they're number 2. And, of course, Marvin Harris and Peyton Manning are number 1.
Is that unbreakable record?
Yeah, they're 20-something in front.
140 or no, I think they're more than 20. I think.
No, I thought it was 118. I could be wrong. I saw a graphic.
We'll have a look.
Don't think Gronk's going to catch that.
Marvin Harrison.
He needs to play another 10 years.
Marvin Harrison never played for another team, did he? He was a Colts man through and through. So it was however many touchdown catches he had in his career. That's Manning to Harrison.
Yep.
Giants. You feel for them, they really.
Better than I thought they'd be. But
Yeah.
No, definitely.
in a close game against Tampa, whereas I thought Tampa would have done a lot better. But
Anyways, Tampa's 6-2. At the end of the day, that's all that counts. And look
They're-
like they could even clinch that NFC South with the Saints at 5-2. It'll be an interesting battle. Atlanta and Carolina probably done for the year.
yeah,
Yep.
I think we're at the start of the season we thought those were the 2 that'd get out of the division, and it looks that way.
Indeed.
Yep.
Previews?
Yeah.
Let's go this week. We already talked, of course, about the non-toilet bowl that kind of became a toilet bowl game because the Packers absolutely blew the depleted 49ers off the park.
Rodgers is good.
Yeah, so let's go into the Sunday games. So tomorrow's games.
Yep. So tomorrow's games, we've got Denver at Atlanta.
Denver.
They're in for a chance.
Yeah, definitely. Atlanta's offense is good. Their defense is garbage.
Yeah. Denver's defense has been pretty good. AJ Boy, I think, is out though with concussion again, and they're on. I think their defensive line is now completely second stringers. Everyone else is out injured, but their defense has been playing well.
Yeah.
I think it's more going to be can we limit Atlanta to say 30 points, and can Denver's offense score 30 against Atlanta's poor defense?
I think if the Falcons score 30, I think they win. But
I think it's going to be close.
Time will tell. You know, Matt Ryan leads the league in passing yards.
Yep. I'm going to go with overs. I hope Denver wins, but I think it could be one of those 30-30 kind of games.
Yeah, I'd say the overs is a pretty safe bet.
Yep. Then after that, we've got Seattle at Buffalo.
Big game.
Good game, yeah.
I'm going to go Seattle up. I've got the MVP there.
Yeah, the way they've been playing. Have they played a cold weather game yet this year? I'm trying to think.
They've played a wet game. I do remember they play Minnesota in a wet game.
Yep.
I'm not sure if they played cold.
They played the Vikings a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that was the wet game. I think I'd like to see how DK does against White over there. Hopefully he can still get plenty of ball for me.
Who's the number two? Who's the number 2 corner for Buffalo? Because he's going to get Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, I don't know. So it could be a feed the Lockett show.
They're just sexy on offense, aren't they?
Yep.
I'll go Seattle.
Yeah, I think Seattle's probably the safe bet in this one.
Seattle, yeah, definitely. And then after that, we've got Chicago at Tennessee.
It's an interesting game. Both sneaky good teams.
Yeah. Tennessee in a bounce back for me. I think they've got more weapons on offense.
Yeah, probably a pretty good offense against a really good defense. Hard to pick this one. Unders I like.
Yeah. It's going to be closer than... Yeah, I think it'd be under 40, I reckon.
Yeah.
Or it'll be around that 40 mark. It's kind of where Bears like to be, that 23, 25-ish kind of game.
Yeah. Oh, I'll go Titans and unders.
I was thinking Titans as well. So after that, we've got Baltimore at Indianapolis.
So big news on that. Des Bryant is off the practice squad and will play. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yes.
Yes, and he's looked good in the videos out of practice.
Yeah,
so
hasn't he?
interesting to see what they brings that team. Whether that helps open it up a little bit for guys like Hollywood Brown, and they can get some more opportunities to get the ball spread around a little bit. Who are they playing again?
Colts.
Ravens. Colts. Yeah.
Ravens.
I'm thinking Ravens. If Colts win this, then I'm going to go with their for real. I've been teetering on they've beaten some okay teams, haven't really beaten anyone top tier. They need to be good against the Ravens, and then I'll start considering them. Yeah, I think they could be. I think they'll make playoffs, but whether they'll go deep in playoffs, they need to win.
I'll go Ravens, but danger game.
Yeah, I can back that. I'm going to go Ravens too, danger game.
I'm gonna go Colts.
Ooh.
They've been putting up a few points, so
Yeah, they have, yeah.
As long as Rivers doesn't turn that ball over.
Well, that's it. So after that, we have got Carolina at Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Yeah,
Maybe
Kansas
just a little
City.
bit.
Carolina need a little bit of a bounce back, I think.
CMC back?
He'd be close. He's real close.
Because we were contemplating this last week, weren't we?
I think it was a game day decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he missed out last time, and Atlanta beat them.
So he is back.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
That could be a big get for them.
Yeah, massive.
But I still don't think they beat Kansas.
Oh, no chance.
Maybe they can score some points and
Keep it amicable, but the Chiefs are
Yep.
I'm going to say overs. Chiefs, let's go overs.
Yep.
Chiefs are Super Bowl favourites.
Yep. So apparently, Chiefs are averaging 39 points over the past 2 games.
Overs.
Hard to beat that. And then after that, we've got Detroit at Minnesota.
Vikings, but not.
The Vikings are a better team than their record suggests.
Neither of these teams are playing playoffs. They're 3 and.
I don't know. I might, maybe Lions are sneaky with Cousins can't keep up with them points wise.
Maybe.
If the Vikings can play the game they want to play, which is run, cook, and grind out the Lions, then they should win like they did against Green Bay. But if the Lions can, get some early points, run it up, make the Vikings chase, so they got to pass, take Dalvin Cook out of the game a little bit. I don't think Cousins can hang with the likes of Matt Stafford and score, throw 300 and 3 touchdowns.
I don't think the Lions' defense is good enough to contain Cook the way he's been looking.
Yeah, I could probably go with that.
True.
Anyway, Justin Jefferson should get 100 points.
Yards or points?
Both.
Yep. So moving on from that, we probably have the toilet bowl of the week. New York Giants at Washington football team.
Yes.
Giants. I think Giants.
I think both of these teams have actually been better in recent weeks.
Their defenses haven't been bad.
Yeah, they're definitely getting better. So Maybe I'm going to go Washington. McLaurin Love and Gibson Love. Hopefully they can play awesome against the Giants. But yeah, Kyle Allen's been good.
It's going to be it's definitely a
I don't think
tough
this
call.
is an overs game. It's probably an unders game.
Yeah,
Yes.
I tend to agree. Probably wouldn't be a high line.
No.
Close. Probably not overly entertaining. I'll say that. No, it's going to be 60-50 this game, guarantee.
Yep. And then after that, we've got Houston at Jacksonville.
Houston.
That could be a
big.
toilet bowl as well.
Yeah.
Well, I think Houston's going to score a shitload of points.
You reckon?
Yeah, Jags their defense has been pretty average, and they're now starting a new quarterback that isn't the Minshew. So I think.
Do we know this guy's name?
Let me bring it up.
Who is playing quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars this week?
Well, he's been handed a poo sandwich. So he's
Poo sandwich.
yeah, he's not going to have a good outing, I don't think.
He's been handed a sandwich.
That's probably going to smell like rotten eggs.
So we have got Jake Luton.
Yeah, so he, from memory, was a 3rd or 4th round pick last year. He's got a huge cannon, supposedly.
Cannon?
Yeah, he's got a
I've
big,
never heard of him, eh?
big arm.
Yeah, 6th round pick.
There you go.
6th round.
Late round pick. I knew he was a later round pick. He wasn't up the top guys, but he's had a bit of hype coming out of the draft, or going into the draft, with how he had a massive cannon and whether someone would use him as a project. So it's probably a little bit early in his career to be starting games, but Jacksonville.
Minshew Mania is obviously starting to run out.
They started off all right, and then they just haven't been able to carry any of that momentum or that confidence has just disappeared. Oh yeah. So I've forgotten now who they were playing and who it was. They're going to
Houston.
Houston.
Yeah, that's right. I think DJ and Deshaun Watson are going to have a big day on these guys.
So after that, we move to Las Vegas Raiders at LA Chargers.
It's a good game.
Should be.
Hard to pick.
Let's go with a Raiders win and then Chargers choke again.
Yeah. Let's go Chargers win until 3.5 quarters.
Yeah.
Yep. That sounds reasonable. And then after that, we have got Pittsburgh at Dallas.
Pittsburgh by a lot.
Yeah. I feel for who their 4th string quarterback, whoever that is, playing for Dallas. He's going to be a very, very sore boy by the end of this.
I think his name's F Nose. F Nose.
I did have it up before I'll bring it up.
He's fucked.
Monday night?
Yeah, what's the Monday night game?
Oh,
Last game.
so now we've got a few more games. So we've got Miami at Arizona.
Arizona. This might be closer than people think.
Yeah, I would say Cardinals, but maybe Miami's actually not too bad.
They've been sneaky good.
Be interesting to see how Tua goes.
They're
second
5-3. The Dolphins good.
Yeah. So a big game for NFC South. We've got New Orleans at Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
This is massive.
that's
That's game of the round.
massive
Game of the round.
divisional game. I think Saints. They've already played once this year, and
Yeah,
Saints
Saints
won that.
Yep, I think that was round 1.
Yeah.
Yep.
Of course, they had Mike Thomas back then for his. Was that his only game this year?
I think it's the only game he's played. And I think he got injured in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if he's back this week, let's hope it lasts longer. He's probably sick of
little bit
playing the
longer.
Saints. So
The Buccaneers have hit their strides in the last few weeks, though. I think they started
They had a
off
bit of a down game last week, though, against the
little-
Giants.
Yeah, that is true.
They were unreal the week
But
before
against the Packers, yeah, like
If they play like they did against the Packers, I think they'll win this easy.
I think so. I'm going to tip the Bucks here. I think the Saints have been a little underwhelming for what their 5-2 record suggests.
Yep.
And I think, given last week they were a little bit slow, other than that, the Bucks have really hit their strides recently. I'll go Tampa Bay in this one.
Yeah, I'm picking Tampa too.
Also on that, Antonio Brown.
Crazy.
Yeah, first game this week.
Yep. First
Is
game.
Godwin back?
I'm not sure.
Is he? What's he dealing with? Is it concussion?
No, hammy.
I thought it was a
Hammy, I
hammy.
thought.
Because I know he's been alternating between the two of them.
Let me quickly check that.
When those guys are all fit and healthy and they take the field, I know we've touched on this. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown,
Anthony Miller.
Scotty
Miller, sorry. Yeah.
Gronk and OJ Howard. That's
and Cameron Bright as well.
that.
Because OJ's out hurt, but
That-
still, it's.
That's the best receiving core ever. Like,
And then you've
like
got
talent
It's
base.
hard to beat.
and then you got Ronald Jones and Fournette. In your
Yeah,
backfield.
like they got some weapons
Yep.
and a geriatric quarterback who's still pretty good, really.
He looks good though.
Yeah. So Godwin doesn't seem to be. Oh, hang on. I might have the wrong team here.
I thought there's only one Godwin.
There'd be a
But
few
I'm
good
looking
wins.
at New Orleans Saints injuries. Thomas is questionable.
Oh,
You might have to get up at 5 to 5 and double check it.
I'd have to. And
I'm not working
Godwin.
tomorrow. I'll be out.
Godwin's questionable as well.
Right.
Yeah.
What's next on the list?
So to round out the week, we've gone back too far. We have got New England at New York Jets.
New England should win.
Undercover toilet bowl.
Monday night
Actually,
toilet
yeah.
bowl.
I'll go Patriots, but if the Jets can win a game, it could be this because the Pats aren't the same Pats.
Pat should still be too good for the Jets. The Jets are hot garbage.
You'd want to hope so.
Want to talk some F1?
Yep.
Yep.
So
I
that'll go.
was just going to quickly say the buys this week are Cincinnati, Cleveland, LA Rams, and Philadelphia.
Don't think I miss any of those teams this week.
Nah,
Probably not.
I've enjoyed following the Bengals.
Yeah,
I was
actually,
gonna say they're-
Burrow's been
Yeah,
impressive.
they're on a good run
On a
in
win
terms of
streak, I think, at the
performance.
moment.
Yeah.
All right. That'll wrap us up for NFL. Pepe's going to take a pee-pee and we'll talk some F1.
Yeah.
So, James, did you watch the race? Where was the race and what did you think?
I didn't watch much of the race actually.
You didn't miss much.
No, I mean obviously Hamilton won. I'm just bringing it all up now.
So, this was... Bloody hell. What was that track called? Look it up.
It was Emilia.
Yeah.
It was the old Imola.
Imola, that's the one.
Jeez.
So I think it's probably pretty apparent if watching the race, the DRS zone off the long straight was probably about 100 metres too short. Very, very hard for overtaking. So I think Hamilton, did you start P3? Bottas 1, Verstappen 2, or they 1 and 2? I think on the first lap, whatever reason, no. They started 1 and 2, didn't they? And Max...
Yes.
I'm just testing my memory here. I think Max somehow got into P2 off the start. Hamilton was in third. I think that roughly sounds about right. So they make that. No. Because then didn't Bottas go. Anyway, Hamilton was behind the two of them. He ran long. The other two pitted. He stayed out as long as he could. I think he was helped by... Was he helped by a safety car again this week? Or was that last week?
Yes, no, there was a safety car late
Virtual?
in the race. No,
late in the
they were
race.
behind it. George Williams was right behind the safety car.
Not that. So, no. I'm getting my weeks confused.
All right.
So, Hamilton did run long and he ran longer. He came in his pit stop, but had such a clear space that he skipped from third into first.
Yes.
Took over Bottas. This makes sense. So, Bottas and Max were 1 and 2. Hamilton skips them both, goes to 1. So they're now 2 and 3. Max then comes through and makes a move on Bottas, becomes second. Then that's basically where the race ended up. So it was very, very hard to overtake. I think Perez was the only one that made an overtake on track. A lot of the moves are all made through positioning through their pit stops. Then Max has what looks like right wheel failure. The tyre exploded going into the my memory. It was first or second corner, but he ends up in the gravel pit. They get a safety car.
That's right.
Under the safety car, So at the moment, you've then had Perez with Max out. Perez is in third. Ricciardo's fourth.
Yep.
Norris, I think, was fifth. One of the McLarens, I think, was fifth at that time. So under the safety car, George Russell then bins it, keeping his tyres warm. Too much acceleration, puts it straight into the wall, bins his car, which extends the safety car another 3 laps, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So this safety car, I think it was with probably about 13 laps to go. So I think they were getting close to restarting. Russell bins it, so they had 3 in and then another 3. So it was about 7 laps to go. Right at the start of this safety car, Perez and I think Racing Point thought that everyone was going to, because they're all on hards and they've been running them very long, they'll all dive in and get mediums.
That's it.
Unfortunately for Perez, he's the only one that does that. Everyone else, because 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, I think, or even up to 8, were all covered. They were about a second behind each other and just holding station. Like I said, very, very hard to overtake on this track. Beautiful track, and it was great to watch the racing, not so much for the overtaking. So Perez dives in, gets his tyres, basically hands third place
over to
Ricciardo. Perez comes out, I think he's 5th or 6th at this point. He does make it up into 4th position, but by that point, there's 7 laps left in the race. He's used up all the good parts of his tyres. Ricciardo's managed to make his, I think, mediums at the point. No, there might have been hards. Get them back up. He was on hards. Yep. Get them back up to temperature, so he can then have that grip and compete. And then he could just hold off Perez and again hold station, and then he just tunnels his way to the end and gets 3rd position for his 2nd podium of the year.
Yeah,
they very much. His race director has came out and said he's not getting a 2nd tattoo for his podium. But Renault's on track of where they want to be, which was podiums in year 2 with Ricciardo. Of course, questions being asked about Ricciardo and his decision to go McLaren, because
whether he made the right decision.
Yeah, because their performance, there's a bit role reversals, but who knows in 2021 with that season and what that's going to look like with the new regulations.
That's it, yeah.
And how, going towards the new regulations, where there's all changes again. But Ricciardo got his shoey in his last podium finish, did a shoey in this one.
Yep.
Hamilton said he'd never do it, but he tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Take off the other shoe, I'll do a shoey with you." They both do shoeys.
Yep.
Hamilton was asked what it tastes like, and he said toe jam. He said it was bad. It's never
That's
again. But he said he's done it.
Yeah. Hamilton and Bottas obviously having a little bit to celebrate this weekend.
Yep. So Mercedes won the construction championship this far out. They can't, of course, be overtaken, so they've won. And Hamilton and Bottas are the only drivers left that could win the championship from the races that are left and the points that are available. So it's now a 2-horse race. Bottas probably has to be perfect from this point out and beat Hamilton. Hamilton just doesn't matter where he is, his strategy and the way he works, way he can maintain those tyres. He's designed to run out in front, and once he gets there, it's very, very hard to get rid of him.
That's it. And probably other news for Mercedes leading in through the back end of the season. Toto Wolff, as we've mentioned before, sort of talked about whether or not he'll be around as team principal. And when Hamilton was being questioned about what he's thought about it, he said he doesn't know. He doesn't know what he's going to be doing next season either. So
very up in the air.
Very much. So I think he still stays there, but
he's got all the records now.
Yep.
Well, actually, Michael had 6 Formula 1 championships, and he's on 4? Quick little Google.
I think he's on 7. I'm not sure, but definitely very interesting for the sport over the next couple of years to.
So he's on 6.
Potentially open up to some of those younger drivers coming through.
He's only 34. Like, he's not
crazy.
No, he's got a lot of driving.
I think that's right. Let me just double check.
So Hamilton's on 6.
Let me just double check his age. I think he's 34. 35. Sorry. and he'll be 36 in January. He's getting up there, but he's not super old, and he doesn't look like he's lost any ability.
He's good 30,
Definitely not.
35, 36, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he looks younger than that.
You reckon Schumacher had more than that?
So I'm double checking.
Surely.
Yeah, 7.
So
If he wins this one, he'll tie him.
crazy,
so-
huh?
Yeah.
He broke his win record for podium. Well, for firsts, winning Grand Prix. So he's
Yeah.
got that record. So that's really the only question. He's got all the other records now. He's broken a lot of Michael's ones. He will then tie his championships one. It's whether he then wants to break. Is that like? I'm just trying to think of what's driving Hamilton to race another year,
Yeah.
another year, etc., etc. Considering Alonso's coming back and he's 100 years old, Raikkonen's was 41, 42,
I think 43.
3. Like he could have another 7 years worth of racing, and
Mm.
if he stays in Mercedes, they could win say half of those years of championships. So
Yeah.
he could easily get over 100 wins. Could easily maybe make 10 championships. It's whether he just wants to have that, put it out there, go,
Yeah.
and walk away from the sport like that, or is he happy? I've tied Michael. I've broken his other record. I've tied Michael on this one. Maybe that'll do me.
Nah, he's a competitor. I think he can go for a long
as long as he's
time.
loving it and
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's got the car and the team around him. Maybe after when all the regulations change after the end of next season, you might
That's it.
consider it then like it's not his F1 anymore. But
Mm. Well, I guess it comes down to how competitive you can be. Like, do you want to finish on top or start slipping your way down the order?
how? No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So interesting to see what that team, because I've been thinking both him and Bottas are off contract next year too. So I don't think they've got any of the Mercedes drivers locked down yet, but I don't see any of them moving.
No. I think, they're too successful of a team at the moment to want to shake anything up, I guess. So obviously no races this week, and then next week we move over to Turkey. Going back to the 3-day format.
Mm-hmm. Istanbul
Yep.
Yep.
I believe so.
should be hot, should be fast.
Yeah,
See how they go.
that's it.
Mercedes has
And
struggled a bit in the heat, so it'll be interesting.
will be interesting. And then we're sort of coming up to the back end of the F1 season now with 3 more races after Turkey.
I think Hamilton can clinch if he wins this one. And if Bottas doesn't position and Hamilton wins, I think he clinches.
Hamilton's 90 odd points. Yeah, so you'd have to DNF a few races, I think, to.
Yeah, Bottas has to win them all, and Hamilton has to finish poorly or not at all.
That's it. And that would probably wrap up F1 for this week.
Mm-hmm. F1 for the week in the books, and we'll move on to rugby and the Tri-Nations now. Game 4 of the Bledisloe was yesterday. So
Wallabies win.
yeah, well, game 3, Wallabies get absolutely dominated. What was the final score? 43-7 or something
not
like that.
much.
Smashed them. Absolutely smashed them here on home soil.
What about the green jersey?
Yeah, I didn't mind it.
Didn't mind it?
I thought it was all right with the Indigenous shoulder pad, padding kind of, well, it wasn't padding, but the area.
Yeah.
Good homage. Bummer they didn't probably play what they wanted to show in that jersey.
Yeah.
But last night, holy, completely different team.
Yeah, crazy, huh?
Yeah.
What difference a week does.
Well, and I think they went very much youth as well. So kind of like we were talking about Queensland at the start of the show. The rugby's kind of done the same thing. Let's bring in these new young guys. Let's put them out there. Let's see how they go. And they really ripped in. 2 red cards in this game. So no red cards in the first 3, and they got 2. One for New Zealand and one for Australia, both for shoulder tackles to the chin area, which is not allowed in rugby. So they sent them. Both teams had a sin bin as well offence, so they were down to 13 men at one point. But it was an interesting game with, you could see the the Wallabies just niggling away a little bit, and you could see where they were going with it. And then in the second, they started getting some of the luck come to them. Started to get some good points, and Corabetti had an unreal last 10 minutes after he got sin bin. He actually got sin bin to end the second half, but he had an unreal last 15 to 10 minutes. Really kind of showed that home. Hodge, who I think played his first game for the Wallabies, kicked really well, played really well too. He was number 6. He's the guy that got sin bin for
Number 6, Lachlan Swinton for the Wallabies.
Maybe was it Lachlan? I'll have to have a quick look. He looked unreal for them in the start, and he was like not headhunting, but he was really targeting the Kiwis, going after him. Massive lad, like huge rig. I was really surprised, purely at his size and his kind of presence on the team. I think it really helped them. Of course, I now can't find. I can't even find Lachlan. Where is he? Yeah, Swinton, back row. 108 kilos, 195 centimetres.
Big boy.
Big boy, and looks shredded too, which is a bit odd. I don't want to say odd for a rugby player, but like...
Still for a lock, yeah, you think sometimes they carry a touch, bit of weight.
Yeah, but shredded. Like you could... not that I was man crushing on him, but you see his six-pack through the jersey.
You get
like,
horny where you're short.
Yeah. I was just like, where'd they find this bloke? Why hasn't he been playing the last couple of weeks?
So
I was really impressed with their backs, 14 and I think it was 10 as well. Played pretty well. Nick White.
Mm-hmm.
Played pretty well as well. It was very niggly, always in the Kiwis' face, kind of unsettled them a little bit. But overall, it was a good game. They won a scrum. They won some lineouts. And finally started playing some decent football. So that's the second game of the Tri-Nations. So 1-1 in the Tri-Nations. Of course, Kiwis win the Bledisloe. But
19 years in a row.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe some good shines. There's some life in Australian rugby at long last.
Still breathing.
So I think they've got... Someone plays Argentina next. It's the next game.
Yeah, so New Zealand plays Argentina on the 14th of November.
Mm-hmm.
And then Australia plays them the week after.
Yep.
And then, rinse and repeat through to the 5th of December.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Argentina does against these two. Hopefully they don't just get bumped.
Well, yeah, hopefully they keep it a little bit competitive, but probably wouldn't be holding your breath for them.
So that's our rugby news, and we'll jump into some UFC news. The fight on last weekend, the main card was Raya Hall versus Anderson Silva. Raya Hall wins by TKO in the 4th round. Started off as a pretty close fight, and then Hall kind of started to take it over, and Silva faded. So whether Anderson, who I think is 44 now, in his mid-40s, old, whether it's about time he hangs up the boots.
Did he retire? I think he... did he make an announcement?
He didn't after the fight, but I'm not sure if during the week.
The news I've heard is Dana's not going to be offering him any fights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
He's been knocked out too many times. But I think another promotion is going to chase after him. Because there was a lot of talk about Dana White saying that that's not a good idea.
Right.
He's still got some talent, and you could probably go to Bellator and kill some fools. But
probably could, yeah. But he's old.
We were talking about head knocks before, and
I think that's
they add up eventually.
Concern.
Yeah. Thanks for the good times. He's got to go down in history as one of the better fighters to ever step in the octagon.
Top 4
in his prime.
Discussion.
In his prime. See, after the fight, Uriah Hall pretty much in tears.
Yeah.
Because of
His idol, his hero.
yeah, exactly. He'd pretty much knocked out his idol, and a real classy show, I thought, from him of sportsmanship, to say thank you, Anderson, for everything you've done, and they shared a really nice moment after the fight. Crazy
Definitely.
guys can wail on each other for 4 rounds like that, and then have that much mutual respect that they,
Definitely.
pretty much Uriah was bowing down to Silver and just saying, "You're my idol, and I love you." And
absolute legend.
thanks
in
for
that.
everything that you've done.
Yeah, legend in that middleweight division.
I think when Israel beat him as well, he did something very similar,
Yeah.
and it just shows the amount of respect everyone has to Silver. And
The Spider, he'll go down as pound for pound one of the best fighters ever.
Yeah.
yeah,
Arguably in that top 4, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
He could make conversations definitely for him being the GOAT and comparing his career accolades against the others.
Yeah, well, pound for pound, he's up there with Jones and GSP and
Khabib, etc. So.
Khabib. Yeah,
So on the flip side, though, for Uriah Hall, leading into this, he's ranked 10, but they were looking to put fights together for him for Paul Costa or Uriel Romero, like trying to get him top 5 guy.
they're scary guys.
They're definitely scary guys.
No disrespect against Uriah, but he'd have to go in as a massive underdog against one
He's
of those
definitely
guys.
been improving, and
He's good.
it'll be
but
like-
those guys are scary.
yeah, you'd be jumping up in competition, like you say, but maybe he could, if he puts it together, maybe he's one of those guys that then comes in and challenges in that top 5 of that division because they're very lacking of talent coming through. And of course, Uriah's been there for ages, but whether he can come in and add something to it, we'll wait and see.
Stacked division, isn't it?
Yeah. But of course, if we keep talking about that division, the Israel Sonia has, I don't think it's official or accepted, but a fight with him and Jan for the light heavyweight title looks like it's going to go ahead.
He's going to have to eat some serious food.
I think he probably is a 200 kind of pound
He's 6
guy.
foot. He's 6'4".
Yeah, I think he's probably a 200, 205
I'm
guy
sure-
naturally.
Yeah, I'm sure he
Probably want to put a little extra
Yeah.
and come back, but yeah.
But Jan seems massive for light heavyweight. Like
He's huge. He hits like a truck. Like
I'm excited. I really hope that fight goes ahead. Izzy's pretty much been cleaning out the middleweight division.
probably the best striker, most creative striker at the moment in the UFC.
Yeah.
So whether he can kind of set up Jan very much like he did Paul Costa and Uriel, just completely taking away their game plan, or taking away their weapons, working to his advantages, and feints, all the head movement, all the just scaring them, setting them up for the narrative throughout the fight. Like, be interesting to see whether if Jan bites on it or whether he, just keeps his fist there and just keeps walking down, and it's like I have to land right hand. That's it.
I'd love to see this fight if Izzy can put on the weight and go up to light heavyweight and stand back there and deliver those leg kicks, those devastating leg kicks like he does, and have a bit of takedown defense. He could be a real go. You just kind of think if Jan can land one or two big power shots, does Izzy have the
Puts guys to sleep. So
yeah.
But you'd say some of the guys that Izzy's fought, then they have got that same kind of power.
Yeah, like guys like Romero have got.
Still, it's 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Difference to his
Yeah,
weight
it's
division.
big, isn't
so
it?
yeah,
it's not like boxing where it's 4-5 kilos between a division. It's like a good 10 kilos. It's massive change.
Yeah.
But would love to see this fight. Dana, I know you're listening. Put it on.
because you think about it, if Israel cuts to 185 and then say he's 200 and he fights, Jan's cutting to 205 and then probably fights at 220.
Yeah.
Like it's
He looks like he's like a 220, 230 kind of guy.
easy over 100 kegs.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So if we follow the bouncing ball a little bit, so Israel and John Jones, of course, still beefing, still in having their Twitter beef going back and forth. So if Jones looks like he's planning to go up, he's working on going up to heavyweight.
Yeah, it's just Insta videos of him deadlifting and squatting and trying to put on weight.
So let's go with Israel fights Jan. Say he wins. Light heavyweight champion, middleweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
Israel. John Jones goes to heavyweight. Say he wins. Goes through, beats Stipe, gets the belt.
Which I could see happening.
Definitely possible.
Yep.
So heavyweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
So you've still got this beef. So then you've got 2-time champion of the light heavyweight and heavyweight division, and then you've got 2-time champion and double belt holder at the point of middleweight and light heavyweight. You know, the goat of light heavyweight, does he getting, you come back and you build that narrative of, and you have that, you put the light heavyweight championship on the belt, put your, your double belt on the line, and I can see that angle. Maybe that's what Dana's trying to play around in the background. I was like, I need to work this out. I'd be interested to see if Jones goes to all that effort to go through heavyweight, then to cut all that weight and whether he can do it or not. But maybe Israel's the motivation he needs to push him over the edge to that next level.
I think you'd be surprised. It's a lot of work, obviously, to put that weight on, but these guys, it's their job to be able to cut weight. I think if the fight was on, and obviously there is the history, on the interwebs and that, I think I would love to see that fight. Everyone would love to see that fight.
Especially if they build that
100%.
narrative like that. I think that's huge. That's probably the biggest fight you can make probably, man, in the longest time. Like that's, if you create 2 champions that then have won both 2 belts in 2 different divisions, that's very, very rare. And then have them at the same time to compete against each other, again, rare. Both of them in their mid-30s now, so I think, or is Israel? Israel might be.
I think Izzy's late 20s.
Late 20s, yeah.
Yeah, but Jones is 32.
33, yeah.
Yeah.
So, maybe talking this is a year away. Hopefully they can fit it in a window that kind of works.
Goodness gracious. Who have you got out of them 2?
Oh, hard to say.
If they're fighting at light heavyweight, it has to be Jones.
Has to be.
I give him the head start. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
He's definitely got the head start.
No disrespect, he's an amazing fighter, but stepping into, in my opinion, the GOAT's domain.
Yeah. If Israel
at light heavyweight, I think Jones murders him.
If Israel murks Jan somehow, and you're just like, holy shit, then it could be like, again, it's fight, punch of chances, a fight. Anyone could win.
How exciting is UFC?
Yeah. They're kind of starting to build it back up. Got a lot of new superstars and champions.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor's still there, of course, but he kind of fallen into the background a little bit, out of the limelight, as you would say. So it'd be interesting to see how some of these guys come through.
Izzy's a superstar without doubt. Obviously, Jan, just won the belt. Yeah, he'd be massive in Poland and throughout Europe. It's a good time, I think, in the UFC. Also, let's not sleep on Stipe as well.
Yeah,
definitely not. And also going the other way, you've also got Usman and Covington in welterweight, so could always throw them in a mix somehow.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Off chance, but yeah.
Yeah, well, Usman's 6'2", and he, again, it's 15 pounds. The divisions are so spread out between 170 up through the 205. But, maybe Usman comes up and then he fights Israel for the middleweight champion. Again, there's
a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
A lot happening.
Got to clean out your own division first, but once you've done that, then, we start thinking about who else they can fight. And Israel and John Jones have both cleared out their divisions a long time ago.
Yeah. Maybe we might get a few more BMF belts being thrown around.
Well, I think George is meant to, Masvidal, that is meant to either refight Nate Diaz for that belt at some point, because it makes money. And they've got nothing else for him at the moment. Because I think he lost to Usman, of course, and Usman was a bit banged up, and he's got nothing really on the cards. I don't think he'll welterweight. Kobe lost. I don't think there's much going on there.
No. Is Nick Diaz coming back anytime soon, or is he?
I was talking.
Done.
He's been done for a long time, I reckon.
Yeah.
I was talking he might come out and then fight George, avenge his brother. But you got to remember, he's older than Nate.
Yeah,
true.
And hasn't fought in 5 years now. Yeah. Like, it's been ages. It's been
I'd
a
be
hot
very
minute.
surprised if that happens.
True.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that'll do that us for UFC talk. And I didn't have much else but to mention EPL keeps trucking along and you're in a bad spot. I think they're
both Manchester teams.
they're outside the top 10.
Yeah, United are 14th, City are 12th.
Yeah.
You'd expect that to equalise at some point, especially the City. They're classy.
We're Leeds.
I'm
just backing Leeds at the moment.
Yeah, they're 15th. So
They're falling down.
you guys know who's coming first through 8 rounds? You want to get it.
Leicester City?
Leicester is 4th, but they are playing well. You're not going to get it.
I did just bring this up and I would have not picked it.
Southampton, up you Saints. Yeah. It's tight. It's tight everywhere. Liverpool 2nd, Chelsea 3rd.
Expected to be there, of course.
Yeah, Chelsea had a big win last night, 4-1 over Sheffield. United got a win up against the Toffees, 3-1. Early days, you'd say Liverpool probably going to defend again this year. It is very early. We'll keep an eye on it and get more in depth into the EPL and Champions League as that develops. And finally, to wrap up, just a little look.
Well, before you jump into the cricket, I was just double checking because I think there's been talk about another lockdown in London or in England. So
Just let the
Actually,
boys
they are in a lockdown, yeah.
there you go. So I'm not sure what the EPL
let
is
the
going to do.
boys
but
play.
yeah, England, especially London, are back in their second lockdown as of 2 days ago.
Put them in the bubble. Keep it going. We need sport.
I think they could do a soccer bubble.
They could, yeah. 20 teams.
Just move them all down to the south of Spain or France.
Champions League, you'd be interested.
But for the English Premier League, you could pick, in London, there's a shitload of stadiums. So you just got to put them all together somewhere and then you just ferry them out to stadiums
Hotel.
nearby.
Just watch.
You wouldn't want them in London, though. You'd want to move them out of the city.
Yeah, well, too many risks in London.
Yeah.
Sheila's.
Yeah. All those dirty mingers.
Holy dooly. We might have to edit that one. Edit that one. All right. And finally,
Let's finish up the cricket. Sorry.
Sheffield Shield. New South Wales Blues got bowled out for 64 today. Thank you very much. Jackson Bird had an absolute day. And the main point I wanted to have a look at, Will Pogosky, the young bloke, he had 260 not in a record-breaking partnership last week. With Harris, they put on about 450 for the first wicket.
Wow.
He just goes out today and just goes, oh, yeah, how you going? 183. The bloke's averaging like 440 or something in 2 games. Be due for a test call-up.
Crazy good.
I think Matt Wade might be in a little bit of trouble for that 6th spot in the test team. Nothing against his play, but when guys are beating down the door like that, Travis Head's been making a lot of runs. Usman Khawaja made runs. The first test is 6 weeks away, and we've got an ODI series beforehand against India.
Yep.
Love me cricket. Can't wait.
It's going to be good. And we'll cover it all when we get to it.
Big Bash coming around.
Mm-hmm.
Us Canberrans going to say
after?
thank you, COVID.
Yep.
the best thing you've done for us all year, giving us 5 games before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, can't wait. Summer of cricket about to head up.
So Afghanistan, of course, not coming for their tests because of the COVID. Can't get them in. But India will be here for
India
the one
will
day
be
and the
here
test
for
series.
4 tests. And that Afghanistan game, scheduled in Perth, the hardest place to play for a foreign team in Australia.
Poor Afghanistan.
It probably would have gone a good 2.5 days. So, not the worst scratching. Can't wait for India.
Oh, Australia might have batted first and batted for 4 days. But
Yeah, that's right. Scored 1,000. Can't wait for India to come out. They did win the last time they were out here. Smith is unreal. Warner's unreal. Will be interesting to see what the Indians can do. Spearheaded by their generational talent, Virat Kohli. Can't wait. Bring it on.
yeah,
So
it's going to be an excellent
that
series.
kicks off on the 27th of November.
Oh, yeah. Couple weeks. Couple weeks for ODIs.
19 days.
Righto. Thanks, boys.
Thank you.
Thank
Sunday
you.
night. Very difficult. Yeah, getting up for work in the morning. I'm not going to work. I appreciate it. Thanks for the chat. Thanks for the yarn. Next week
Always.
on the Esky, we will be covering the State of Origin second
2.
game.
Mm-hmm.
Bits of pieces of news from the AFL. A little bit of NFL.
Week 8 and 9 in the NFL.
Formula One. Maybe a little bit of fighting. Bit of soccer. Bit of cricket. Thanks for listening.
Thank you all, and go Queensland.
Blues. South Wales. New South Wales. New South Wales.
Queenslander!
Bye.
See you all. Bye.
Yeah.